Good day. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to perform input and output in the console environment. So in the console environment, if you are working also in the Mac OS environment, that we refer to as the terminal. These serves as the very basic input input component, input and output component of the computer system. So in development, we write our output to the the terminal or the console. Likewise, we receive input from the console. In Java, what we're going to learn to do is at the console level, we'll be learning to use the system dot out and the system dot in for display or for output, the system dot out for output, and then the system dot in for input. We would also move further in this same video to explain how to do this in console, sorry, in the graphical user interface. Okay, in the graphical user interface, what we will be using is the G option pane that show input dialog. To receive an input for an output, we use the show message dialog to give out an output. Okay, so quickly we'll get started. We'll switch from here to use the NetBeans platform. All right, so to quickly get started, we want to create a project. So we go to the very top, exactly follow where the mouse cursor is. We're creating a project. So we click on project and then we select Java with Maven and then we select Java application. Okay, and then we click on next. We want to give this project a name. Let's call this for YouTube, and then we click on next. So we have created a project. You can see over here the name of the project is for YouTube. There's another project I had already created called Second Particle. So what we want to use is the project for YouTube. So now we right click on this and then we include the Java class. This is the class we want to create to help us to have within it the main method. Okay, so we click on Java class and then we'll need to give the class a name. We have already given the project a name for YouTube. We want to give this class a name. What name should we give to it? We'll be working on a question, so let me use the name of that question to guess what the name of the class must be. So we'll be using the name miles per gallon. Miles per gallon. Miles per gallon. Yes, so that's correct. You can use any name of your choice, but I chose, because of the question we'll be using, I chose the name of the class to be miles per gallon. So click on finish. Okay, so now the environment on its own has created for us the class. Okay, so public means that this particular class should be, with its properties, should be accessible within of this entire script. Okay, the class is the blueprint that is defining exactly what attributes about the object that we are about creating should have. Okay, and then miles per gallon is the name of the class. Now within this class is where we create the main method. Okay, so we want to create the main method, so we give it the attribute public static void main. the open and close parentheses, and then within sorry, braces, and then within these parentheses we pass on the argument string square bracket args. Okay, so public here the same meaning as public here. So this method which is one of those um, attributes of the class, properties of the class mile per gallon, is given the attribute public, which means that within of this class and outside of the class it is visible, it could be accessed directly. Okay, um, the method main has one of its attributes as static. This comes to the fact that there are two main types of methods. Okay, there are two main types of methods. The method can be either static or non-static. If the method is static, like the example we have, it means that the method needs no instance or object of the class to invoke its related attributes or properties. The attributes or properties could be variable or it could be methods. Okay, you don't need to create any instance. The reverse of static is that of the non-static. So when it is non-static, we have to create an object for the class or an instance of the class. We use that object to make reference to the class. So in this case, the main method has its attribute as static. So we don't need to create an object of the class miles per gallon before we are able to invoke the method main. Void means that the attribute void means that the method should not return a value when it is called. The method main is the name given to the method. In the traditional programming language C, C++, and then Java, the main method is set to control the execution of the program. Okay, so back again on the major concept for this particular video session. We want to learn how to receive input and then how to give out an output. All right, so quickly for an output, we use the system dot out. The system is a Java API. Java API which provides uh, several classes that will help that we can receive input and output. Okay, so that gives us access to the object out, and out gives us several functions. So when you press on the dot, you see several functions that the object out will point out to in the Java API system. Okay, what you want to do is to use the function print or print line. Print and then print line, they perform the same thing, apart from the fact that print line will print what you display, what you put within the open and the close bracket, and take the control to the next line, whilst print will print on that same line, keep the control on the same line. So now I want to print, for example, how are you? Let's save this. Now when we save, and then we click on run. Select main class. So we're waiting to have the output somewhere here below. So what we wanted to print is how are you? So we use the system.out.print line and then print it on how are you. Now let's look at this. We can see that it prints on the line and take the on this line and then take the control to the next. Let's look at this. If we took off the ln, which refers to the next line, how the output would differ from um, the previous one that we had. Okay, so we can see here it prints on this line and then it leaves the control again on the same line, but in the previous it took the control to the next line after printing. Okay, so that is the basic difference between print and then print line. Okay, this will take the control to the next line. Okay, so this is how we print or display in Java using the system.out. So quickly now we're going to look at how to do or how to receive an input. How do we receive an input in Java? All right, so quickly, um, I'll take off this. To receive an input, we will need to import a library. Import a library, we call it java util dot scanner. Now I would explain why we are importing the scanner class. Okay, why are we importing the scanner class? What we would want to use to receive the input is system.in. If you could remember very well, what we used for display was system.out. Now the system.out has information already represented in the textual form format or already in the form of a string. So that makes that string is um, a native data type of Java. So the environment to quickly understand it doesn't need further translation for it to be understood and worked out. So we use it directly. However, if we are using the system.in, the environment represents data in the form of byte code. It provides a byte code representation. The byte code representation is not a native data type of Java. So we would need to convert this byte code into their respective data type. So for example, we want to convert it from a byte code into an integer or to a float or to a double or to a string or just name it. It could be long or a byte data type, not a byte code as a data type. So what will be the reason why we are introducing the scanner class? The reason why we are introducing the scanner class is that we are going to use the scanner class to convert all the byte code input into these native types. I hope this is clear. So we are going to use the scanner class to convert the input that will be received in the system.in, which is in the form of what? A byte code into these respective native data types. All right, so quickly let's go back into the code. All right, so um, to do that, we will need to create an object of the scanner class. How do you create an object of the scanner class? Is the name of the scanner class followed by the name of the object. So we can call it, let's say, XC, and then new followed by the name of this of the class again, scanner. What we want to convert is the system.in. So on this line, what we are simply saying is that whatever this will pick, the scanner class should handle it and then make um, convert into an object type. Now this object of the scanner class we have just created is what is going to give us access to functions that will help us to do the conversion from the byte code to their respective native data types. Okay, So let's take an example that like the example we use, system dot out dot print new line, how young are you? Now this would only just display this test. We would now actually want to receive the value. Okay, so um, age would literally be in would have to be an integer data type. Your age will not be for 12.3. No, it will be 12, a whole number. So we create an integer variable, we call this age, and then we will use the object sc to make reference to a function that will help us convert the byte code that is received into an integer type. So that will be next int. For that next int, so on line 17, we are converting whatever is received into the system.in, which is a bytecode, as the age, and we use this wrapper class nestInt to convert it into an integer type, and we store it here. Okay, so on the next line we can simply choose to display what was received. So we use the system.out or print or the print line, and then we pass on what age. So we can write a test here that I am blind. So we are simply saying on line 18 that it should print this test. I am followed by the age. So if I enter 12, it will display on the output panel that I am 12 years old. Okay, so let's save this and save this, and we run it. Click on the green button. So we can see from the side that it is asking how old are you. I am 12 years. Hey, whoa, just said 122. So when this is giving us an input on line 18, we convert that input into an integer on line 17, and then on line 18 we print out I am 122. So this is how we receive input using the scanner class. You create you import the scanner class like you have on line 11, and then you create an object sc. It could be any variable name or any object name. This is the syntax as we have on line 15 to create an object, and then on line 17 we are converting it into an appropriate data type. So at the other side, if we declared age to be double, how do you convert it? You have to change this to .nest double. Okay, so it's must-tally, we have double here followed by double here. Look at the syntax variable. They must relate. Okay, so likewise if age was to be a float, then we say float age should be equal to .next what float. Okay, so that is the pattern that this follows in the conversion. um in the next video i'll try to solve one question with you, and then you see how this works out perfectly well. Okay, all right, so before we move on to that particular we move on to the next video, I would want to show you how to use the G option pane.